right. Hello, pre-Twinkle students, although technically, since we've been through Twinkle, you're post-Twinkle students. But we still call the class that for a little while, so I might still use that terminology. But congratulations, of course, on passing Twinkle, and now we're on to Lightly Row. We talked already last week about the scale and the arpeggio, and so if you haven't played that video, I'd go back and I would check that one out, practice those up a little bit to the point where you almost have them completely memorized, or have them completely memorized. And then this part will be a little bit easier for us because we're going to put together the first two lines of Lightly Row, and we're going to talk about those first two measures of each of those lines. Very first thing, we have a couple of new things we have to think about when we're playing Lightly Row. The very first one is we learned how to do the third finger viper strike in Twinkle, and now we've just got to take that viper and we got to move it down to the second finger and learn how to do a viper strike with the second finger. So let's start with that first. So go ahead and get that violin ready. On top of the shoulder, hold it with the chin. We don't need the bow quite yet. Make sure you're holding it with a nice heavy head. And float that hand up. Tiny thumb on one side, elbow underneath. So we've got all those fingers over on one side. Make sure not to squish the fish. And then let me see that two viper if you need to. Gotta make sure that you figure out which one it is exactly. And then you want to look at that tape and you go ready, set, strike. Just like that. Pick it back up. Try it again. Strike. Very good. Go ahead and pick it up. Let's do 3 strikes in a row. Ready? Strike, strike, strike. Very nice. If you need to, pause the video, practice that a little bit, because that can be a little bit challenging since we haven't done it with the second finger as much. But we'll go ahead and move on. The next thing that we want to work on a little bit is the bowing, since we worked on our legato and our long bows in Twinkle, but we want to, of course, keep practicing those because we also have those long bows in Lightly Row too. In particular, instead of going from the open A to the open E like we do in Twinkle, bum, ba, E, E. In Lightly Row, we actually go backwards. E, A. So let's practice that first. Go ahead and get that violin ready. This time you will need the bow. A good violin hold. Nice heavy head. Make a good bow hold with all the fingers nice and bent. You can do an inside hold or an outside hold for this one. I'll leave it up to you. But do make sure that regardless, that thumb is nice and bent. That pinky's on top. That lazy teenager's just hanging out there. The 2 middle kids got their feet in the water. And then make sure to lean that hand on the bow, of course. I'll put that elbow up a little bit. That'll help us out too. Ready? Go ahead and set that bow in the middle on the E string and give it a little bit of a motorcycle tilt. And then we're going to go E, A, A. That second A is going to be a half note. Quarter note, half note, half note. We want to watch, and we want to especially try to keep the bow in the middle as we get to the tip, which usually means we have to kind of watch it, which is why I like to practice this without the left hand so we're not distracted. Let's try it. I'll give an example, and then I want us to try it together, so make sure you get ready. Just like that. Get ready with that bow on the E string. 1, 2, ready, and E, A, A. Keep it straight at the tip. E again. A, long bow. Very nice. Let's do that one more time, and then we'll move on and we'll talk about the fingers. Get ready. 1, 2, ready, and E, A, A. Try to stay off the D string. E, A, not too far. Very nice. And of course you can practice that up. It's always good to do these little practices before playing a song so that when you start to put it together, you can really focus on what you need to in the song instead of all these basic things like a big bow stroke. Okay, let's talk about the fingers. I'll go ahead and I'll include this document, of course, so that you can print it out if you would like to. But since I had a printout for the scale and the arpeggio, I wanted to talk a little bit about that beginning part, the Lightly Row, and what I like to call the Lightly Row-ing, especially. So, let's take a look. At the beginning of Lightly Row, I might have to hold this up a little bit like this. We start out with an E, 2 on a half note, 3 on A, 1 on A, 1 on A half note. If we remember the song, lightly row, lightly row. Just like that. So like I said, if you need to, you can print that out and kind of have it there. I'll make sure to call out the notes though. I want to practice just that part. First, I'll give you an example. And then we'll try it together. So go ahead and get ready while I'm giving the example. The nice heavy head, thumb, tiny thumb, no squish fish, good bow hold. Here I go. E, 2 on A viper, half note, third finger, first finger, half note. Just like that. Go ahead and get ready. File on the top of the shoulder, hold it with the chin. Bow on the E string, give it a little tilt. Ready. Get that second finger viper ready. Set. And go. E. 2 viper. Half note. Third finger coming up. First finger. Half note. Just like that. Let's do it one more time and then we'll talk about the next part. Get ready. 1, 2, ready. Opening. 2. 2. Third finger. 1. 1. Very nice. Go ahead and practice that up just a little bit and then let's talk about that next part. So luckily, we have most of what we need to play the second line, the first 2 measures of that second line, because the notes themselves are going to be the same, if you remember from the song, but we have to add what I like to call the ing. Lightly row, ing, lightly row, ing. We took one of those half notes, if you remember from our twinkle math, and we broke it up into 2 quarter notes. So we just have a little bit more rhythm going on there since we have extra notes. So, take a look at it. Then let's practice. Go ahead and get that violin ready on top of the shoulder. Hold it with the chin. Make that head nice and heavy. Tiny thumb on one side. Watch the fish. Elbow underneath. That's super helpful for getting those fingers around there. That'll help us, especially with that second finger viper. So we got that in this one too. All right, I'll play it once, then we'll play it together. Here I go. E, 2 viper, 2 viper. Second finger again for the ing. 3, 1, 1, ing. Just like that. And if you're wondering what I mean by ing, hopefully we know by now because I say it a lot. But lightly row, ing, lightly row, ing. Since the lyrics are different, we have to accommodate that by adding an extra note. Let's do it together. Violin on top of the shoulder. Tiny thumb. Elbow forward. Don't squish the fish. Good bow hold. Make sure that pinky's on top. Make sure that thumb is bent. Set it on the E string. And we'll play it together. Get ready. Especially that second finger viper. 1, 2, ready. Open E. 2. 2. 2. Here comes 3. 1. 1. 1. 1. Or actually, all right, that's the last one. Good. All right. Let's practice the lightly row and lightly rowing one more time, and then I want to actually put them together with the first and second lines. It's not a bad idea at this point to pause and just practice some repetitions. You know how I like to do it. Sometimes I'll set the ducks up there. You can use 3 of anything, have them do it 3 times. Another good challenge sometimes is doing 3 perfect challenges where you play it and you have to get every single note perfect, or if you get it wrong on like the 3rd time, you have to go back and play it from the first one. I would, at least for now, just do 3 good repetitions, and then as you get better and better, of course, you can make it harder and harder. Okay, let's practice those one more time. The first one I want to do, let's grab it, is the lightly row with the half note. Then we'll do the lightly rowing one more time, and then I want to start putting them together with those lines. All right, get ready. 1, 2, opening, and Second finger viper. Second finger viper, half note. Third finger, light. First finger, mi, ro. Nice. Don't put the violin down yet. Go ahead and get the E ready so that we can do the lightly ro-ing. Ready, set, go. Viper. Ing. Third finger. One. One. Ing. All right, let's start to put them together. If you need to, like I said, pause it and practice the scale and the arpeggio too, because we won't go over that in this video, but we will go ahead and put them together for the first two lines that I like to call A, of course, because it's the first line, first letter, first line, and A prime, since A prime's, the second line's not that much different, so we like to call it kind of similar to the first line. All right, here we go. Get ready. Opening. 1, 2, ready, go. Opening. Viper. Half note. Third finger. First finger. Half note. Here comes the scale. And 2, 3. Open E. Open E. Open E half note. Another open E coming up. And open E. Viper. 2, 2, 3, 1, 1. Here's the ing. Arpeggio. 2. Open E. Open E. 2 on A. Half note. Very good. So like I said, if you need to, you can go back. You can use this video to practice up any of those parts, and then we'll start putting it together. Happy practicing.